Hi, Robin here, looking at legal, moral, cultural and ethical issues. It's for the OCR A-Level Computer Science. I'm going to be looking at piracy and the offensive communications. So piracy obviously is where you're taking and illegally copying people's work and using it in different ways, usually because you want to access it for free. That could be movies, it could be TV, it could be music, copying books or video games, and obviously that's people's work and it's something they've spent a lot of time and effort and creativity into doing, and therefore should be paid appropriately. And therefore there are different laws and rules around this. Our main one that we need to know for the OCR is the Copyright Design and Patents Act, and making sure that that covers sort of the needs of it. In some regards, the law's a little bit too old, and therefore it's making sure that it can kind of work in this environment. And there have been attempts to update the law and make sure that there are kind of other things that are considered within this. So obviously within communications, there is the Communications Act of 2003, which therefore means that grossly offensive or indecent or obscene or menacing messages can be therefore controlled. In other words, the behaviours on social media and cyberbullying effectively, and making sure that we're covering those within this. So again, with some of these laws, they're not within the actually technically in the spec, but again, an awareness of them will do you no harm and will certainly help you to answer sort of 9 or 12 marker questions where you're asked about kind of how sort of behaviours may happen, because they are sort of behaviours that could well be sort of legitimately asked for questions. Okay, the whole ethical aspects around piracy and sort of the aspects of that. So is it fair to kind of effectively steal and share people's work? Or if somebody's being kind of, or are you actually helping them, arguably? So you're getting more people to have seen their products and therefore that raises their profile. And therefore kind of, are you allowing them to actually become better known and therefore they can make more money down in the future as a result of that? Again, there's a whole kind of therefore aspect between when information should be free and open to everybody because it's in their interest versus when it's deemed as copyright and therefore not appropriate and they aren't receiving the payment they deserve. This can all do with sort of, again, free speech and harmful sort of speech and around the behaviours of that and whether it's appropriate to say and do things online. We have other aspects to do with sort of whistleblowing and whether sort of if you work for a company, you know that something's going on, having the right to actually raise that, the concern of that, and go to the police about it. But also versus the whole kind of trolling and cancel culture that can exist online. And therefore, because somebody's done something wrong, do we just remove everything that they've ever done? Is it appropriate to still say, listen to music or to watch films where it's known that the person who created that has committed a crime? And again, kind of, when are we holding people accountable and making them sort of responsible for their behaviours versus kind of when are we kind of limiting or controlling sort of data and usage, which is in an appropriate way? Other moral things around this, so such as things like software, should it be free, should it be accessible to all? Is that actually discriminatory to not allow that access for everybody, particularly if it's say life-saving software or access to sort of medical research and things like that, versus when is something justified? So if you spent a lot of time and effort creating a computer game, well, really you should be paid for that in turn, shouldn't you? So there's a decision there about when it's appropriate and to share everything versus when are you really deserved the money that you should be getting from that. Again, different countries kind of have more money than others, and therefore again is it appropriate to sort of deny the poorer countries access to things because obviously you're denying them potential education or sort of experiences that they really should be getting and should be aware of. Other aspects to this are when is kind of speech free speech versus when is it just harmful because it's inciting violence or threatening people or causing other aspects to it. And again, when we're kind of being aware of what we could call online harassment, how much is too much to pursue somebody online effectively? When is it the responsibility of the victim effectively to do something about that action, or is it the responsibility of the platform to monitor that behaviour and to do something about it? Again, it's the whole grey area here of when is the platform responsible versus the user. And again, should a platform ban, or is it more appropriate to teach the person and the user that their behaviour is inappropriate in some way? Other cultural aspects towards this, obviously, again, there are different attitudes around the world to this, but certainly in Western countries, a lot of piracy is seen as just stealing, whereas perhaps in developing nations, it's seen as more of a necessity due to the cost of it and people wanting their ability to actually see and do various things. Certainly, there's different attitudes, say, particularly with music, where some bands, and companies have chosen to share their information and products for free, in the hope that perhaps it gets rid of the need to be pirates. So a band, for example, like Radiohead, often offer free downloads to their music, and in turn, I suppose they're hoping that will raise awareness of the band and therefore will give them higher profiles for tours or for making money through other avenues such as merchandise, etc. Again, with offensive communications, there's a whole sort of religious aspect around this and about the standards that are appropriate. So again, different attitudes around the world, and different sort of where different religions perhaps exist and people's, again, attitudes to certain people's behaviours. There's a whole kind of aspect around things like LGBTQ rights, and the sort of the aspects to those. And again, when is it appropriate to be sort of protest politically online versus when is that sort of deemed against the behaviour of that government or what's appropriate in that particular culture, which can again sort of be dealt with in different ways in different countries. Okay, well, thank you for watching. I hope you found that useful. Please do like and subscribe, help me to help others, and I hope to see you again.